People with health conditions like diabetes, hypertension, and chronic illnesses have been asked to be extra careful in the time of COVID-19. But what of a country that itself has a lot of health conditions? If you've heard of Somalia previously, it's unlikely to have been a good thing. Somalia has had floods that have devastated crops, desert locusts that have ravaged more crops, and there is another swarm of desert locusts on the way. All of this is happening during a pandemic. This threat means that about 3.5 million people could be without food between July to September this year. Somalia's population of 16 million people is extremely vulnerable, and according to David Beasley, the head of the World Food Programme, multiple deadly famines are very much expected because of the COVID-19. But there is a significant possibility that this time Somalia will test positive for success and not for delayed action leading to deaths by causes like malnutrition. All of this might be thanks to early intervention. The UN's Food Security and Nutrition Analysis Unit activated a prepared plan. This plan was triggered when the number of people threatened crossed a certain limit. The plan was drawn up with a drought in mind, not a pandemic or locusts or flooding. So some of the things like drought-tolerant seeds are not exactly relevant to the current situation. But a lot of other things are. Things like public information campaigns and provision of food for people and livestock. Now, why is this preset plan so significant? Because according to Mark Lowcock, head of the UN's Office for Coordination and Humanitarian Affairs, it costs 50 times as much to save a child who is malnourished than to intervene earlier. It is also 4 times cheaper to feed a goat or any livestock than to get a new one. For an international community that is mainly reacted after a disaster, this is a welcome change. Early intervention can save even more lives at a lower cost. Not just cost as in monetary cost, but cost as in human resources, cost as in infrastructure, and most importantly, time. In a situation like this, like a pandemic, where resources are stretched already, these resource savings are obviously extremely valuable. Countries can find themselves in extremely messed up situations, where one disaster can destroy the whole country. Somalia is just one country. Bangladesh is another, with its devastating flooding. These countries frequently need help from other countries, not just to recover, but more to survive the crisis. There is a plan in place for responding preventively, rather than reactively, to Bangladesh flooding this year. The flooding season is about to begin, so this plan will be set in motion sometime in July. What should you take away from a story about Bangladesh and Somalia's plans? Well, firstly, the inspiring story of human potential and resilience. Secondly, it is a good thing that even during a pandemic, we as a human species aren't so confused or so caught off guard that people will start dying out of sheer negligence and futile issues rather than the main pandemic. Thirdly, international organizations and cooperation are important for survival. Even with isolationism becoming politically popular, we cannot be so isolated as to ignore other communities. Today, it's Somalia who needs a plan like this. Someday, it could be your community that needs a plan. And even if you are never directly affected, survival of the vulnerable populations is in everyone's interests, in everyone's social, humanitarian, and economic interest. When I read this report on Somalia, I felt hope. At a time when we are constantly getting bombarded with bad news, at a time that feels so dark, this felt like one of those small lights that assure you that this darkness will end. If you agree, please share this video and let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like and subscribe to this channel to watch more such videos. Thank you.